It was supposed to be relaxing, wasn't it? Jeez. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to another Big Arsenal Breakfast Show. It's Sunday, the 8th of March. It's 9 a.m. and we are live. Live every day. Weekdays, 7 a.m. and weekends, 9 a.m. I hope you're doing well. I am your host, Edwin Ash. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to lie. There's no point in me dressing this up. There's no point in me pretending otherwise. The fact of the matter is, it only takes 3 pints of 4% lager for me to feel dreadful in the morning. I'm reaching that age. I hate to say it. It wasn't even like, not like a bender. I didn't go on a mad one because, the mighty Arsenal defeated the mighty Mansfield Town. It was just a normal sort of Saturday evening, really. And I have to say, I just can apologize. But I will not let it affect the show, of course. In fact, if anything, I'm going to put in an extra 10% brilliance today, an extra 10% just for you guys. But I hope you're all good this morning. I hope you enjoyed your Saturday. I hope you're going to enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Let's see if we can kick it off with a bit of a Arsenal espresso shot to get the day going. That's what we kind of do here. We try to get a little bit of into your day, starting with the Arsenal. We're going to talk about the Mansfield game. We're going to get your big ass opinions. And to do so, we want you to get involved. So hit us up on the socials. On TikTok, we're at Big Ass Breakfast. Same on Insta, at Big Ass Breakfast. On X, we are at Big Ass Brekkie. And on Blue Sky, we are at bigassbreakfast.bsky.social. A little bit of admin just to start. Also, if you feel this way inclined, please just tickle that like button. Tickle the subscribe button. Like and subscribe, please. It helps the show. It's good for us. Good to get out there to reach more Arsenal fans, talk more about Arsenal, get in the Arsenal community, and so on and so forth. If you're watching this live or coming to this on a Sunday, we also have the podcast. So if you can't join us live on weekday mornings, that's cool. We understand. But you can have us in your commute. You can absolutely have us in your commute. If you're on the tube, if you're going around London, you can't stand the noise, then we've got the perfect earplugs for you. The Arsenal Breakfast Show is available on good podcast outlets, all of them, on your Spotify's, your Apple, your other ones that I can never remember what they are. But if you get them from elsewhere, then go get it. If that's what you want. As I said, little Arsenal coffee to start the day. And also, get in touch. As I said, in the socials here on the screen, as I've just said. And also you can email us if you like at show@bigarsenalbreakfast.com. That's show@bigarsenalbreakfast.com. Now, the game itself, it was supposed to be relaxing, right? It's supposed to be easy. We're going to get into it all. We're going to have a little look. We'll have a deep dive into the game, what happened, what transpired, who was hot, who was not. There was some hot on display, wasn't there? But there was certainly some not. And I would say it was really interesting. There was kind of a bit of some melty down type behavior amongst us in the community yesterday. I think we're going to cover that later. But I thought it was quite an interesting reaction to a game that was maybe a bit trickier than what we anticipated. But let us start with the scoreline. Okay, so Mansfield Town 1, Arsenal Football Club 2. Goals from Madueke in the 41st minute. Evans scored the equaliser on the 50th minute. And Eze scored an absolute rocket. I mean, there was 2 rockets in that game, wasn't there? Absolutely lovely finishes. Eze got the winner in the 66th minute. Starting with the lineups, it was a much anticipated change team. Not as much as I thought there would be in terms of giving the academy kids a chance, but also when you think about it, I think it was the first time a Premier League team had fielded 2 16-year-olds at the same time. So maybe that was actually a lot more academy-like in terms of age range than I had anticipated. But in goal was I can never say Kepa's last name, and I'm not going to attempt it now. Maybe that's something for me to work. Let me make a note on that. Learn how to say Kepa's last name. Let's have a try of it now. Aretha Balaga. Aretha Balaga. If you're Spanish, help me out with that one. Get in the comments. Spell it out phonetically for me, because that is for me, that is more challenging than it should be. Marley Salmon started. Awesome. Mosquera, Calafiori, and a back three. It was a back three, wasn't it? It was a bit weird. It was a bit weird seeing that. I thought that left us a bit open, but it was a back three. Norgard kind of holding that sort of deep role position on his own in front of a back three, with Havertz kind of alongside him. Trossard, Madueke, Dowman started. We'll come to Max Dowman, Martinelli, and Jesus. We'll come to those two as well, for not so exciting reasons. Let's have a look at the match stats. Ball possession was 34% to Mansfield, which is kind of understandable. Arsenal had 66%. Now, the expected goals, that's quite a lot to give away to a League One team, I think. 1.99 expected goals to Arsenal's 2.73. Mansfield had 18 shots to ours of 19. 5 of those are on target. 8 of ours are on target. They had one big chance. We had 4. They missed one big chance. We missed 4. Accurate passes, 191%. 191 passes, 73%. And Arsenal's were 459 at an 85%. Fouls committed 16 to Arsenal 6, and corners 4 to Arsenal's 8. Let's have a look at the player ratings. If you're not familiar with this already, I don't tend to go with my own personal player ratings. I like to start with something a little bit more objective based. I take these from FOTMob. If you don't know the FOTMob website, it's really, really good for all sorts of stats and information. I take this from FOTMob. Why do I do that? Because, quite frankly, I like something a little bit more objective to start with, and then we can have a little discussion around that. I think it's kind of good to start with, what is the statistics saying about the player ratings? Because FOTMob take them from about 300 different Opta stats and sort of accumulate it together to give an all-round kind of player-rated performance numbering. Whereas I think sometimes, and that's good, it doesn't cover the kind of emotional aspect of the game or the eye test, maybe. But I like it. So Kepa, 7.7, Calafiori, 6.9, Mosquera, 7.4, Salmon, 6.7. I actually thought he was a bit better than that. Martinelli, 7.7. That's interesting. Havertz was a 7.1. Norgard, 8.2. Madueke, 8.7. Dowman, 7.8. Trossard, 6.9. And Jesus was a 6.7. The substitutes appearances were Hincapié got a 6.9, Timber a 6.3, 7.1 to Eze. Jaden Dixon came on but didn't get a rating because it was so late in the game, I guess. And a 6.6 for Bukayo Saka. Let's have a little look and see what Mikel said after the game. Mikel said, it was a proper FA Cup game, and credit to Mansfield, the stadium, and the atmosphere the fans created. There was a bit of banter. There always is in lower leagues. I said this on the show yesterday. When I used to frequent my local lower league clubs from where I grew up, I have to say some of those days were amongst the funnest I'd ever had. It's always a good atmosphere, always good community, and on a day like this, you can really see that the Mansfield town fans really leaned into it and got into it. And why shouldn't they? I thought it was a great atmosphere. And it reflected in their performance, which we'll come to in a moment. Arteta continued, they made it really difficult for us. If not, you have to be more ruthless in front of goal than we were today. True. The margin becomes smaller and you can give hope to the opposition. We made a mistake on the goal, which cost us the momentum and belief for them overall. Happy with the performance. We have 2 16-year-olds in the starting lineup, which I don't think has ever happened, and I'm really proud of them. I think everyone feels involved. We have the desire that game by game, we can get closer to the things we can achieve. Yes, we certainly do have that desire. We have that hope as well. So, about the game itself. going to rattle through some of the sort of key moments, some of the feelings and thoughts that I certainly had, see if it sort of lands with you guys as well. Um, I would say that it was a weird game. There was lots of early fouls going on at the beginning. I thought that might come to our sort of aid as the game went on. Didn't really come to fruition. Dowman had an early chance where he should have scored. Um, yeah, that was in the 3rd minute. In the 4th minute, he left 2 for dust. Got to the byline, got himself a corner. Mosquera then shot over. There was a near through ball that wouldn't quite run on that pitch. We'll come to that pitch in a minute. I mean, I've got notes here about Jesus being offside, wie immer, as they say in German, or as always. I don't know what that guy's got to do to improve that, but he really, really does like to stray offside in unnecessary offside positions. Mansfield grew into the game around the 11th minute. They had 2 big chances. We were completely all over the place. We had a scramble that led to a corner, from Mansfield. More shots, more pressure. They had a volley that went just wide. There was an opportunity for Trossard, who took a shot on a really weird angle, I thought, when I think there was too much on the angle. He should have squared it across the box. And that was kind of the thing at the sort of moment of the game. I thought we were a little bit cocky, actually, to start with. I thought there were lots of tricks and flicks. I'm not saying necessarily from anyone in particular, but there was a little bit of like, oh, we're just going to kind of cool Premier League fluid football our way out of this problem. And actually, the game that had presented itself was a lot more challenging. So I felt like we were giving the ball away. We went from this sort of Premier League team that's been a little bit cautious about vertical passes to just trying to play a through ball every time we got the ball. And I think maybe at that point we might have slightly underestimated what Mansfield were doing. They were pressing really, really well. They were all over us. The crowd was behind them. And I thought we were being a little bit too cocky, maybe a bit too confident. And I felt like it needed a little bit more control. In the 25th minute, Martinelli got played in by Dowman, got the shot off, but slightly offside. But it's a nice little, I think it's like a nice little sort of disguised pass by Dowman. He got into the box again, Dowman, played shot straight at the keeper. I've made a note here saying, Madueke ain't beating the rumours with ballooning it from outside of the box. Another note that I made was Marley Salmon. I thought he had really good strength for someone so young. And then, unfortunately, Trossard got injured and Hincapié had to come on, which meant, of course, that he's added more load and more minutes to an already massive, massive amount of games that he's played, which I thought was a bit of a shame. But he played incredibly well. And then we got the goal. Madueke. I've put Madueke is beating the allegations. Scored an absolute screamer from the edge of the box. And I thought, yeah, more of that, please. And then 2 minutes later, I've put, or is he beating the allegations? Because he skewed an incredibly, well, it looked like a simpler chance to me, and he completely skewed it wide. And that's kind of like Madueke's game, isn't it? On one hand, I've never seen a player who can basically shoot so incredibly well, take amazing shots from 1 minute to the next being such a horrendous effort on goal. I mean, you tend to get these players who are known for shooting. You think of them over the years, whoever it may well be. It could be Bergkamp, it could be, I don't know, Santi Cazorla. Think of all those players that we've had over the years that you think you call for them to shoot on the edge of the box. You know, when the fans are like, shoot, even if they're like 90 yards out, shoot. And I thought that, like, when you have those players that are known for shooting, their range is normally like either just a bit over, just a bit wide, just like, or maybe even just quite high. Like, wasn't a great shot. Madueke, I have no idea what's going to leave his foot every time he takes a shot. I have no idea. Is it going to go screaming into the top corner, or is it going to go out for a corner? You know, or go out for a throw in. Like, that range is so huge, so huge. It's really weird. Anyway, half time came, and I thought we were good for the goal. I thought that it might settle us down a bit. I thought that then we'd start playing our football a bit more. I thought if we get a second goal, then that probably does kill that atmosphere. It sort of, you know, makes the Mansfield players tail off. Maybe they start to think about their big game they got against Reading coming up in the week, and they start to go, okay, we gave it a go. It's good. We'll just accept 2-0. Well done, Arsenal. Thanks for coming along. You know, nice to meet you. But we didn't. and we gave a goal away. Now, there's been a little bit of scrutiny on Marley Salmon under hitting the pass. When I say scrutiny, I don't think anyone was laying into him. I just think there's a bit like, it was his fault, or he's learned from it. And although, yes, it was a slightly under-hit pass, I don't want to make too many excuses about the pitch. But I think on a Premier League pitch, it has the pace to arrive at its target. There was a point in the first half where Trossard came inside and he played a ball across field, and I think he played it. He hit it like he was trying to curl a shot into the bottom right-hand corner. Now, this was a pass, and what I mean by that is that he hit it to keep it off the grass to land at its destination, because you could tell, from my mind, that he's going, if I hit this along the floor, it's going to roll to a stop. So he was like, I can't explain it. He took a sort of cross shot to get the ball across, and I think he was aware, as a lot of the players were, that this pitch is difficult. Now, I'm not saying we're all a bunch of prima donnas. I'm not saying, oh, God, we can't play in those conditions. I really can't. Can someone get me a bottle of Evian, please? It wasn't like that. It was more like, it was just difficult, right? And yes, it was difficult for us. It's difficult for Mansfield as well, of course, but those passes were, and it basically didn't surprise me that someone fell foul of a slightly under-hit pass. And I felt sorry for Marley Salmon. He looked gutted by it. And do you know what? If he's listening, I'm sure he is. I think he's a regular and he listens every morning. I would say, mate, don't worry about that one. Don't worry about that one at all. It happens. Let's move on. I got a note on the 54th minute. Dowman's feet. His feet are incredible. And I want to save a little bit of flowers for Dowman at the end, because we're all loving that. But his feet are absolutely incredible. I mean, he did that little slidey take it one day, got a shot off, which maybe he could have done better, but I thought the goalkeeper was equal to it. It was really, really good. And I just love watching that. Don't we all? Then there was an opportunity for Mansfield to take the lead. They had a man over going forward. I can't remember who the dude was that took the shot. He should have laid that off to his friend. They could have gone 2-1 up in that instance. We were all over the shot. And then came the changes. So we had Timber come on for Salmon, and Havertz come on for Eze. Havertz went off for Eze, sorry. Jesus had an effort saved on the line. Jesus didn't have a good game, did he? Let's be honest. We'll come to that as well. And then Eze scored that absolute rocket. I mean, that is kind of why we bought him, isn't it? We want to see more of that in the Premier League, and we can say, well, he won't get that kind of space in the Premier League, which is kind of true. But if anyone can fashion a shot out of nowhere when it doesn't look on, or when it looks like the ball's getting away from him, it's Eze, and we need more of that. We need to take what he did there and encourage it and transform it to the Premier League. I'm hoping with Eze, as some of the Crystal Palace fans have been saying all years, that he tends to come good in the run-ins. So please keep this good recent form up and come good in the run-ins, please. Saka came on. Dixon, young Dixon, who we bought from Stoke. Where have we seen that before? He came on for Calafiori. That's a bit of a concern about Calafiori. I hope that's not anything too serious. Saka gets played through and should score. Later on, Jesus blazed over from the edge of the box. Again, not a good performance. I thought in the 89th minute, there was a lovely piece of play by Madueke. He had that lovely touch from a long ball out of the sky to get us up the field, and he got us a corner, and that's a part of his game that I like to see a bit more of. I know he's kind of he's got kind of haywire skills about him, or persona, or auras. You don't quite know what he's going to do next, but I'd love to know that he can, hold up a game. He can control a game. I'd like to see a bit more of that. He's definitely got those skills to try and beat players, but I'd certainly want to see a little bit more of his kind of sensible hold-up recycling play in those sort of game states. I remember, 93rd minute, Mosquera made a great covering challenge. And, we had a breakaway in the 95th to put it to bed. Martinelli put it wide. I mean, I think we had, again, a man over. We wasted that opportunity, like we did a lot in this game. We wasted a lot of opportunities. And then right at the death, Hincapié came steaming in. with a sprinting challenge to clear the ball out, and then we get the win at full time. So, sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just going to have a little sip of my coffee here before it gets too cold. Yeah, that good old Nescafe instant. Ugh. What's your brand? Has anyone got any good coffee? Let me know, because I'm getting a bit sick of this powdery stuff. So my initial reaction, I'm sure yours was the same, was we really made it hard work. We made it such hard work. It was difficult conditions. We wasted so many chances. There were 2 moments of real quality amongst many moments of not quality. And it was hard. I mean, the one thing I will say, and it does get, for some people, a little bit frustrating, that we don't go out and just make these games easy. Now, what I would say is, and I'm sure we are in partial agreement, I know we've got the squad. I know on paper we should be steamrolling Mansfield, but when you make those big rotations, they never. I can't remember the last time we played a heavily rotated team that just clicked and absolutely banged like a big rotated team. I can't think of one. I can only think of like when Wenger seemed to have a knack for a period of time back in the days where he played all the kids, and all the kids seemed to gel and have exciting football, and we were like, "Oh my god, this is the future! We're going to be the next Barcelona," and we'd all get very excited about that. But ever since then, every single rotation team, no matter the manager, when we come up against lower opposition, lower league or lower in quality, with a heavily rotated team, the connections aren't there. Sometimes there's a bit of youth and experience mixed in there as well. And I think often if there's any first team players, they tend to try and preserve themselves because they're gassed. So I wouldn't say I was expecting a big upset, but it didn't surprise me that we struggled. And that is the thing about rotating squads, big rotations. It's good to get, when you're swapping out an Eze for a Havertz or what will, eventually be an Erdegaard or a Saka and a Madueke, things like where you can drop players in towards the end of the season that can just slide in, then yeah. But when you start with a rotated 11, I'm always expecting it to be difficult. I can't think of a time when a fully rotated 11 has absolutely boshed a team. Yeah. So. Other concerns, wasting chances worries me. If you can't take those sort of chances against Mansfield, I really do worry about what we've got coming up in the run-in. If we start to, maybe we've got them all out of our system. They say that. We've got it out of the system. We've got it out of the system, right? So that won't happen again in the end of the run-in. Yeah, really? I hope not. Yeah, wasting chances and, but, we still have options. It was quite good. We had those players that came in, Madueke and Eze. I mean, have they been absolutely banging this season? No. But have they contributed? Yes. Have they contributed in moments in games like these rotated games? Yes. Yeah, they both have. You think of your Port Vales or was it Slavia Prague away? There was a game away that Madueke scored that absolute banger. I mean, these are the games that you need that kind of squad depth for. So that was kind of pleasing, I think. Have to give huge credit to Mansfield. I mean, how can you not? I thought they were amazing, to be honest with you. I thought they were buzzing off the crowd. They had an electric performance. They're really putting it all in. I thought they were a real credit. If I was a neutral, I would have really, really enjoyed that game rather than turning my top man boxer shorts into a fudge factory. They were great. Really, really good. So credit to them. Absolutely. We won. We move on and we forget about it. I mean, how many of these games have we seen those difficult, struggling performances where the narrative on TV is like, "Oh, Arsenal going to blow it here. Oh, my goodness me." And we've been through hundreds of these sorts of games and can't even remember them. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter. So if anyone's getting upset about it, it doesn't really matter. We won it. It's fine. Now, just a little bit on Max Dowman. Now, I'm not saying he's the next Messi, but I am saying he's the next Messi. He's amazing. He is really good. He has got something about him, hasn't he? I mean, we've seen this in preseason. I mean, if he's not beating players, getting a shot off, getting a cross in, he's winning penalties. Not in this game, admittedly, but his output is extraordinary for someone so young. His feet are phenomenal. His confidence, his ability to take the ball on the half turn, make something happen. Now, there was a couple of moments in this game where he's brimming with confidence. Good for him. I'd rather that than not. Obviously, he's not a shrinking wallflower. I'd absolutely rather that than not. But there was a couple of moments where I thought he was trying to do a bit too much. Maybe he was trying to impress a little bit too much. But he can learn that. He can learn that in the rhythm when we get those games, those bigger games, how that game ebbs and flows and when to make those moves and when not. But all of us, we're all in agreement here, right? We want to see him play. I think, when you're looking at Jesus today, which I don't know what on earth has happened, he came back strong. He was looking pretty fit, and we were starting to think, yeah, maybe he's an option. He's an option to start games. Maybe we can see, we can squeeze a bit of juice out of this guy, and we can get a few goals. But okay, difficult, conditions and whatnot. But he hasn't looked good since Leeds. And I just don't know. I can't put my finger on it. I don't know what it is about Jesus that can't seem to find a rhythm in his play. He's fit now, so it can't be really. You can't say he's not properly fit or whatever. He's had a lot of games where he's on the bench. He's well rested. He's available, so he should be, I think, contributing more when he does get those opportunities. And I think Sam Dean released a piece this week about Arsenal having to consider selling first-team players. Now, I think we always assumed that one of those would be Jesus, but I tell you, there's a couple of others that are playing themselves onto that list, aren't they? Martinelli, I love him. I'm a big fan of Martinelli, but his development in certain aspects of play has really stunted. We know with Martinelli, if he's got green grass in front of him, he's deadly. If you play him through, he's deadly. He's really good at finishing. He's really good at getting away from that last man. He's great at contributing in those instances. We see it in the Champions League, but in this game and in the Premier League, he's missing some technical abilities that they're starting to stunt his effectiveness. And I do wonder, as much as I love him and wanted to see him explode, when you compare him, maybe it's a bit unfair because we're talking about a generational talent in Max Dowman, but when you compare him to Max Dowman and his ability with the ball, to take it in the midfield, beat two players, or shield the ball, or get it moving, or affect the play, that is immediately like bang. I mean, Dowman has got bang, bang. And I start to look at this kind of, I'm not comparing them directly, but with Martinelli, you start to think, where is your improvement here? What has happened to the electric Martinelli that we knew of since, you first started? So I don't know. I don't want to dunk on the guy. I definitely think he's talented. I definitely think he's got loads to offer for the squad. If we didn't sell him at the end of the season, I wouldn't be surprised. But he's got to do more in those areas, particularly in the channels, because we feel like when he gets the ball in a tight space in the channels, doesn't get his head up enough. He's not particularly great at recycling it, at least. And he's not beating players. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe he'll be on that list. Maybe he will be on that list come the end of the season to be sold. Anyway. So, on to...
Apart from the two penalties he gave away, I thought that stuff
Shesh will never leave the
Sack your
school for life, mate. Way too dry.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the sound of that absolutely ginormous ripper indicates that it is time for your big ass opinions. We always want you to get in touch. So please get in touch at Big Ass Breakfast on TikTok, at Big Ass Breakfast on Instagram, at Big Ass Brekkie on X, and we're on Blue Sky. So, having a look across the Twitter sphere last night in the socials, let's have a few looks at these. I thought Ryan Taylor of the Daily Mirror sports section, I believe, he said that Noni Madueke strike was Arsenal's 100th goal in the season in all comps, brackets 19 different scorers, didn't reach the landmark until April 20th at Ipswich last season. For all the talk about AFC's style, they're averaging 2.17 goals per game, their best ratio since the 1952-53 campaign. I remember it well. Just let that one sink in for a little bit. For all the talk about AFC's style, they're averaging 2.17 goals per game, their best ratio since 1952-53. Again, I know it's like it feels like kind of looking for confirmation bias, but we're not looking for it. We're just getting confirmation. And it's not even a bias. The media surrounding Arsenal's style of play and everything that's been said all this week, I've talked about this on yesterday's show. I don't think Arsenal are the problem here. I think we're playing good football. There have been games where we've won ugly, and there's been a few of them of late, definitely, as we're starting to get gassed up towards the end of the title run and so on. But by and large, don't let them fool you. We actually play good football. We really, really do. Thank you, Ryan Taylor, for your contribution on the interweb. Screenshot number 2, please, Eddie. Some of these are quite good. Okay, Terry Fleurs, Terry at the TFT. Fair play to Mansfield, actually having a go. A lot of Premier League teams could learn from that mentality. Now, I say, don't give them any fucking ideas, Terry, please. We don't need that, right? That's why I put this on it. Don't give them ideas. Don't give the rest of the Premier League ideas. Don't come and have a go at us, yeah? Just roll over for us, please. AFC Amden or AF Camden says, can someone tell me how is it AFC Camden? Is it AFC Amden? I mean, we all know this guy. I've known this guy for years. I follow his, tweets and stuff. He comes up with some good stuff, and I'm like, I don't even know how to say that. Max Dowman is so good, but what I love most about him is he demands the ball at all times. Picked it up in the center of the pitch, surrounded by players, no problem. Yeah. And then in contrast to that, Alex Monopelny said, Gabriel Jesus has been so poor for months. I understand his injury troubles, but a lot of it is decision related. Yeah, I talked about this. I mean, I just can't figure out what's gone wrong there. I just can't see why Jesus can't be contributing better than what he is at the moment. What else across the sphere? We have Up to Joe. Nice little statistic here from Up to Joe. Arsenal have won 35 games in all competitions this season, drawn 8, lost 3, more than any other Big 5 European League sides in 25-26. And they're outright most wins in a league season under Mikel Arteta, previously 34 wins in 23-24. Momentum. I'm just going to read the key part of that. Arsenal won 35 games in all competitions this season, more than any other Big 5 European League side. Okay, so again, let's just have some perspective here. People, we know this. We know we're good. On to next one. EBL, at EBL 2017. I don't even know this guy, kind of tactico guy. Interesting. I just like this. Max Dowman has God-given football talent and intelligence. You can't teach it. And that's kind of the worry. If you can't teach it, then there's probably a few players in our squad that will be sold at the end of the season. Yeesh. And then just this last one. So just move this over slightly. Where are we? No, I've moved it off the screen. Okay. This one. This was Average Gaming P4S. Average Gaming P4S, who got in contact with the show directly, who got in the comments last night. Please do get in the comments. We'll get your tweets and messages and statements and thoughts and opinions and musings read out on there. So, Average Gaming P4S said, Max Dowman is going to need to be trusted once we are playing last 3 games of the Prem. The rest will be left for pre-season because this season we have 8 matches in the Prem. We're in the final of the Carabao, nearing the end of the FA Cup. And at a stage in the Champions League where we can't trust potential, we have to trust proven quality. I do believe he will score a goal that will be instrumental for us to win one of these tournaments, if not even two. This past 4 months have been rough, and a lot of the easy matches we had should have been played, but he was injured. He's puts in brackets, Fudge, the player that injured him. He didn't say Fudge. But preseason is close. So basically, to summarize here, so he's basically saying he'll get a lot of preseason games at the end. Still enough room for him to contribute, and maybe even a really essential goal. And I kind of feel the same way, to be honest with you, mate. I feel the same way. I think there's something in Dowman that I would not be shocked if he had a moment before the end of the season. A real important moment. And boy, what an injection it would give of confidence and belief to the guy. I feel he's ready. I feel that off the bench, if not starting, I don't mean he has to start 65 games in a row, but I really feel like he's got something to contribute now. And I know the Arsenal fan base feel the same. He's ready. I think he's ready to do something really important.
Instant karma take of the day.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Every day, as you're aware, the instant karma take of the day. Now, I thought today, the instant karma take of the day might have been something along the lines of dealing with the hatred that Mosquera has had of late. I wouldn't say hatred. That's wrong. That's a bit, sorry, I've gone a bit too heavy there. I don't think he's been receiving hatred, but I was looking across again the general vibe of what Mosquera was playing like last night. I saw quite a bit of criticism. I must admit, more. It's difficult to put this into 10%, 5%, but I saw a little bit of criticism about Mosquera maybe not having his best games. And I just want to, let's just bring the temperature down on that, shall we? £13 million signing, slots in like he's been playing football for Arsenal for 2 or 3 seasons. And I think he's been the signing of the season for Arsenal. That's my opinion. And he's played really well. And Opta Joe has backed up my opinion. Isn't it funny how I've picked a piece that backs up my opinion? It just happens to be coincidence. Opta Joe said, 14. Arsenal haven't lost any of their 14 games when Christian Mosquera has been named in the starting 11. 112, drawn 2. The best unbeaten record of any Premier League player when starting in all competitions this season. Revelation, he says. Now allow me to do my impression of someone who does a watch along online. I told you. What did I say? I told you. Yeah, I think he's been amazing. I love the guy. He's been amazing. There we go. So anyone that's feeling a little bit like, oh, Mosquera had a bit of a no. He was amazing. Right. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. That is it for today. Thank you for joining us. It has been fun, hasn't it? I just want to say thank you for everyone that's been watching online, if you've been getting involved, if you've been downloading the audios, if you've been having a chat with us online. Again, we're on TikTok, Insta, X, Blue Sky. Again, if you feel inclined, please like and subscribe. And yeah, I think enjoy the rest of your weekend. We are back tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. 7 a.m. during the week. Have a brilliant weekend. Get your arse in gear. Thank you for joining. Bye-bye.